I didn't want to make this video. I didn't want to talk about this because I am tired of hearing people talk about it. I'm tired of it being brought up, but I feel like I haven't met barely anybody with my perspective on this topic, or I've met a few people, but they're all RAs. In my opinion, I think that my university has a huge chance of getting through this and not getting shut down. I really do. And here is why. Preface, I'm not going to tell you what the name of my university is because I don't know if I need to get permission from them or something like that to even be making this video, but it is a prominent university in Maine. They have decided to reopen. There's a whole lot of precautions in place. Understandably, there are several people who believe that this is a very irresponsible move. If you look at any of the comments on any of the pages, it's all just a whole bunch of people saying, this is so irresponsible, you guys just want money. This is a complete disaster, like can't wait to watch this unfold, just really negative stuff like that. My university is in Maine, and if you've been paying attention to the statistics on state to state, Maine has one of the lowest amounts of COVID in the area. I don't want to give any numbers because I don't want to be wrong, but I know that it's less than 500. Less than 200 deaths, I think. I want to say, I shouldn't even be saying these statistics, but I'm pretty sure we've had less than 200 deaths total. As of right now, we're getting like average maybe 10 COVID cases a day, which is very, very low in comparison to a whole lot of other states. So in saying 10 new cases per day, I'm gonna go ahead and say that the COVID risk in the surrounding area of my university is really, really low. Or like it's highly unlikely that I will get COVID when going into my surrounding area for my university. So we have two types of students who come here, in-state and out-of-state. In-state students, Maine students, have been living in the state that has a very tiny amount of COVID. So these kids, in my opinion, are pretty low risk. They're pretty low risk. Just looking at the numbers-wise, those kids are pretty low risk. There might be like a few, but like it's really not that many. The big risk for opening our school in Maine is the out-of-state students who are coming in. The out-of-state students who are moving into Maine, moving into their dorms, moving into their apartments right now for the opening of school. Those are the students who pose a risk. Some schools are accepting a 14-day quarantine before coming up to the university, or getting up there and quarantining for 14 days in place of a test. You run the risk of kids not listening to that quarantine, not following it or anything like that, going out, partying, finding friends, thinking it's okay, stuff like that. That's a huge risk that you run with that. So my university is actually only accepting a negative test result. When you come to the University of Maine, you need to be tested immediately. All of these kids who are checking in this week are going to get tested, or unless they already have their papers because they were tested beforehand. So everybody who is getting on this campus has either already been tested or is getting tested right then and there. The wait time for those results is, like, they say that it's 1 to 4 days. I got my test results in 2 days from it. So it is relatively fast. 2 days is a lot faster than a 14-day period to expect students to not be meeting up with other people. That makes a whole lot more sense in my opinion than doing a 14-day thing, because that's gonna be a lot harder for students to avoid contact with other people. But 2 days, that can fly by. Also, as soon as they get tested, students are actually being given a wristband or a bracelet that is signifying that that student has not received a test result yet and needs to be quarantining. And so people who are in buildings, people who are in our campus gym, just people from a lot of different locations are looking for students with a wristband to say that they cannot come in because they need to be quarantining until their test results come in. And then when their test results come in, they can take it off. Now, it's understandable that students can probably, I don't know how easy it is for students to take off the wristband on their own. I still think that's a good step in the right direction. I really do. And I think that that brings it into real life a little bit more for them, how important it is for them to be quarantining during that time. And it's literally only 2 days to quarantine. We have expanded our move-in day that everybody would move in into a move-in week, which is going to spread people out over a longer period of time so that we're not backed up in terms of testing and things. So realistically, during this move-in week that people have, the people who move in on the very last day will have maybe 2 or 3 days to wait for their test result. After that, it should be, the case should be, if everything goes correct, then we will be knowledgeable of who has stepped on campus with a negative result and who has stepped on campus positive for COVID. And we do have an entire plan for quarantining students and isolating students. There's an entire elaborate plan for that involves them really not being in contact with people, like at all. They have thought it through. There are caretakers for them. There's a whole lot of different things that are put in place for those students so that they will be not in contact with anybody during the time that they're isolating. And the only way for a student to come out of isolation is to test negative 2 times. So it can't just be 1 time, it has to be 2 times. Then they'll be able to rejoin the world or whatever. And we are working with the CDC to make sure that we are on top of contact tracing and figuring out who has been in contact with a person between the time that they arrived on campus and the time that their positive test result came in and they were put into isolation. That means that after we get through this brick of time, the 1 week move-in and then the 3 days afterwards for those last students' test results to come in, and we have everybody's results, we should be in the clear. And I want to state this so clearly because the difference between our school and other schools is that we do not have that much COVID in our surrounding area. That is the difference in my mind, in my brain. That is the difference. Because in other schools, you can have all the students come in, test, get the negative students, let them go about their time, positive students taking care of isolation, all that business. The negative students can still go out into the community, go to Walmart, go to restaurants and such, and contract COVID from the surrounding community because other states have a pretty bad situation of COVID. But the difference is that Maine's COVID situation really is not bad. So the negative result students should be able to more safely go out into the community. And even without that, they're still wearing masks. We're still completely requiring masks. We're being really strict about it. Anybody not wearing masks is getting documented in the residence halls and all that different stuff. There are precautions that are being taken even with the lower risk, if that makes any sense. I know this might not sound believable, or some people are saying like, oh, you're not being very safe by thinking that. But like, what can I say? I am still seeing so many students from my school posting, how long do you think it's gonna take till we get shut down? When do you think we're gonna get shut down? This is completely trash. They're trying to waste all of our money. They're trying to use up all our money from us and then kick us off campus. But I just wanna ask you, if you are one of those people who are saying that, I just wanna ask you, what are you doing for the world when you say those things? You're just putting more worry into other people's hearts. You're just making other people doubt things. You're bringing negativity into the situation that is not necessary because you don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows what's gonna happen. We could get shut down in 1 week. We could live out the entire rest of the year, like genuinely. And this chance is way bigger than people realize. This chance of us doing it, getting through it, that like coming out the other side of this is very real because of the things that I've been saying in this video. Turning it into this whole entire thing that you're obsessed over, that it's the only thing you're posting about on social media, it's the only types of things that you're saying to your friends, it's the only topic of conversation you can think of. You're just bringing more like anxiety, negativity, and worry into the whole situation. I'm just so tired of reading about it on other people. Everyone's saying, oh, I give it 2 weeks until we get sent home. All right, I don't care. I don't care how long you give it. What did that benefit me? What did that benefit anybody by saying that? You're not doing anything. That doesn't mean anything because it hasn't happened and you don't know. If you want to stay home, if you don't want to go through the effort of moving in, then just stay home. They gave the option for it. They said talk to your professors and they will figure out your online schedule. You'll be okay. I just want to put that mindset away. I want to call out that mindset of just constant complaining, negativity, anger, like all that stuff about this situation with the university. You're angry about something that hasn't happened yet. So we can just put that down. I'm not saying, listen, freedom of speech is so real to me, okay? I'm not saying that we need to get rid of that, but my goodness, it just doesn't do anything. Like, you're not fixing. I'm excited, I'm happy. I think that we're gonna have a good year. I really do. I have hope that we're going to stay on campus. I'm just hoping that everybody follows the rules. Am I slouching again? Why do I always do this? I hate when I'm literally slouching because I notice it while I'm editing and I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't do that. Anywho, am I getting like washed out? I feel like I look way lighter in this lighting. Just try. That's all I'm asking. It's just, we're all in this together. We're all trying together. I know that we're all upset about the way how the world is, and we're upset that it's been the way that it is for this many months now, because nobody thought that it was going to be this long. Stop trying to sink the boat. This is the only boat we have. Let's all just work together, work together to keep everyone's mentalities okay, work together to keep everyone's hearts full of love, not hardened. We gotta work together to make sure everybody feels loved, everybody feels heard. I hope I didn't come across as really negative in this video, because I feel like I'm yelling about negativity, but I'm giving a lot of negativity back about it, and that's not what I'm trying to be doing. It's more me trying to, I speak passionately, okay? I'm not trying to be hateful. I speak passionately about this, and this is one thing that I've been very, very passionate about. Hello, I am editing this right now, and I'm realizing that I forgot to mention one of the most important points that I had meant to put into the video, which is comparing the time from when schools had closed to the way how the whole situation is now. Because one of the biggest arguments that a lot of people have been bringing up in this whole entire debate is, why did we close over this small amount of cases when we are opening with a way larger amount of cases? And the way that I think of it is, do you remember when this had first come out, the only way to test for COVID was a blood test, that they would draw blood from you? It cost like $2,000, I think. Your results wouldn't come in for 2 weeks if you had COVID. And like, that in itself, like, now that we have so much different other types of testing now, shows how much the science has progressed with COVID and how quickly that's happened. And it also came on so suddenly for the university back then. They were so unprepared. Nobody really understood the virus at that time and all that different stuff. So the way how I think about it is comparing Maine during a blizzard to like Tennessee during a blizzard, right? So like Tennessee might close schools over 2 inches of snow or something like that, because they don't have plows, they're not ready for it, the people don't. They're not used to snow, they're not used to driving in snow, people don't have snow tires, people don't have those like 4-wheel drive cars. Whereas in Maine, we can take like 2 feet of snow, we have plows, those will get rid of it. Our cars, most people get 4-wheel drive cars, a lot of people prepare for the snow, a lot of people know how to drive in snow because we understand it a lot better. So the way how I think of it is, you know, back when we had closed the school at the very beginning in March and stuff like that, I thought of it like Tennessee getting snow. They were unprepared. They didn't know how to deal with it. They didn't have the tools. They weren't ready for it. So that's why we had to close the school. But now we have a lot more tools. We have a plan. We're much more prepared. You know, we have what we need to put together a possibility of us being able to stay open. So that's another really big thing I wanted to mention, is that look at the science and how different it is now. Look at all the new tests that we have that we didn't have beforehand. Because back then we were really like, it's progressed so much further since then. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like if you agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, still like it. Subscribe to my channel if you want more. I usually do crafting videos, but to be honest with you, now that I've moved up to my university, I kind of accidentally left all my paints at home, so I don't really know how that's gonna work anymore. See you later.